Well, hey, Dave Melinda here, Positive Polarity Podcast. Hope things are going awesome for you this week. I got a great question for you, and I got a guest that's going to help us with this because this is a huge blind spot, I think, when it comes to business. And the question is do you want to grow out of your cold leads? I don't know too many people in this world that can't wait to get to work to dial 200 people they never met before. It doesn't seem like a very fun day. Plenty of us done it, plenty of us still do it. I'm fortunate that I don't do it, but I want to hear this guy's world and his side of it. So I'm honored to be hanging out with Billy Sammons. How are you, my friend?
Man, I'm feeling a lot colder than you are. You're on the nice warm side of the world, but cold is like, step outside to walk my kids to the bus. It feels like a cold plunge, and I'm good for the rest of the day. I've done my cold plunge just by
There you
walking the
go.
kids to the bus, so I'm good to
Well,
go, all set,
they
ready.
should be able to walk themselves. How old are they?
10 to 13, but you know what it
Oh
is? It's like
gosh.
they
Didn't
can,
you
but
have
it's
to
my
do that?
time.
Didn't you have to walk those, back when we were kids, man, they just kicked you out of the house. They didn't care.
Well, I see it as a time like where I get a few minutes with them. You know what I mean? Like I ask them like,
Sure.
what are they excited about today? And it gives me like a few minutes to just spend a little bit of time with them because the kids are so busy these days. He's got sports, he's got this, he's got that. So
Yeah.
I use it as an opportunity to just kind of hang out with them for a little bit and see
Cool.
how their day's going. And that's really what it is. It's not the bus necessarily. It's the
Yeah.
time.
That's cool. Awesome. Well, thanks again for jumping on today, Billy.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Decided to excited to unpack this topic. You're the owner of, I gotta say it right. Live.
Live
Not
local.
live. Live. Oh my gosh, this is funny. We had fun with this before. You say it. It's
It's
so
live local
easy.
marketing.
There you
It's
go.
the
Live
present
local
tense. Live
marketing.
local. We're living local. We're living, we're doing the things.
There we go. So much easier when you say it. You got it figured out. Um, again, we will unpack this cold leads thing because I really think that there's a lot of people either hide behind them, misuse them, don't need them, settle for them. So I think we'll unpack that today. But I'm excited to also unpack your entrepreneurial journey because we have a ton of people listening around the world right now that are in kind of a state of awe when they hear us each week because they want to be the people that are owning their own business for whatever reason. So we're going to set that aside, but I want to ask you about your journey because you used to be a teacher. And
Yeah, yeah.
I'm kind of looking at it going the other way, going, man, I'm done with this entrepreneur stuff. I just want to teach for a while before I land my plane. So I want to hear about this leaving teaching to, start your own business. So fill us in on what that looked like, Billy.
Yeah, so for a while I was in a high school teacher and adjunct professor in the local college. So I was doing that for quite some time. And then, just one thing kind of led to another, and I started finding myself in the real estate space. And then from there, I wanted to be separate. I wanted to still give because that teaching bone still is on my body. I wanted to give
Sure,
to others, and but real estate is a very difficult profession to give on a regular basis. Like teaching was pretty easy. You're giving to kids, you're doing stuff
sure.
every day. I coached basketball, I did some other stuff. But with the real estate space, it was a little tougher. And the other part was there's so many realtors. Like you can't walk through a grocery store and not bump into like 12 realtors just by grabbing a thing of milk in the morning. So I wanted to do something that separated me from other people and
Okay.
allowed me the opportunity to give back and still be a positive impact on my community. And about that same time, a local brewery was opening up, of all things. And it was just a really cool community spot because they had like food trucks and had kids games there so the kids can come play games. They let
Okay.
pets come by. It was just a really great spot for the community. And I
Sure.
wanted my audience to know that they were there and I wanted them to succeed and I wanted them to do really well. And so what I decided to do was a video commercial. I'm like, hey, I'm going to come in. You've seen me a million times in here. And this was 15 years ago and do a
Okay.
commercial for you. So it wasn't as easy as like holding your phone up like it is now. Like I
Yeah.
had to have an actual camera and I had the
Yeah.
whole setup and stuff. And I did a commercial and I had so much fun doing it. I started doing it for other businesses in my community. So I went to the bakery and I went to like local charity and I went to different spots and just started doing
Sure.
commercials. So everybody knew that these places were out there. And then the crazy enough part is I had to shift my mindset because I found myself knowing all the owners. And then once you know all the owners have communities of their own that they brought you into. And I'm like, I shouldn't be focusing on my own audience and bringing them. I should be focusing on knowing all the owners and bringing value to the owners. And so I shifted
Sure.
my business to continue to provide to the business owners. And before you know it, I know 30, 40 business owners, and my business quadrupled. I went from 7 people in my CRM to 7,500 people in my CRM just by knowing who they know and doing it through a
Sure.
very giving and a genuine system. And so that's kind of how the journey went. It was by accident, but I had a lot of fun doing it.
Did you just decide one day, Billy, that you were like done teaching and then I'm going to do something else, or was it a kind of a transition piece? What did that look like for you?
It was kind of progressive. So what we did was I don't sit still very well. So the teachers that have summers off, good for them. I started flipping houses. I'm like, I got to get out. I got to do something. I had some fun doing
Okay.
it.
Sure.
Um, it's not HGTV like you think it is. It
Yeah.
was quite a bit, but a few buddies of mine, we would buy a few. We'd work on it ourselves. We'd spend the summers doing all the work ourselves. And
Okay.
then eventually that started picking up and I started getting more real estate business. People had questions about things. And so the real estate actually took off organically that way, just by people asking me questions and me giving them answers. And eventually, there was too much real estate work to do both jobs, and so
Oh,
real estate ended up just kind of taking over.
sure. Yeah, and I think again, there's no, as we say, the caveat is there's no right or wrong way to start, to quit,
Yeah,
to, there's nobody, no one way to do it. We love hearing all these. So you kind of worked alongside your current position while you started that, which I think
yeah,
is pretty typical for a lot of people.
yep.
Did you kind of know going in that it was going to be that, or were you just like, I might just keep teaching. I need this security. I mean, was it scary for you to kind of make that jump?
No, it was just it was slow. It happened over years. It was probably like a 6 year overlap where I was teaching
Gotcha.
and doing real
Okay.
estate at the same time. So it wasn't
Okay.
really, it didn't happen like right away.
Sure.
But I did get to the point where like I was taking half days or I was taking days off or sick days to go show houses and do stuff. And at that
Sure.
point, I'm like, listen, the income's there. I've got enough client base. This marketing system that I have in place is now working really well. I think it's time to not do both. At the same time, my wife and I we were having our firstborn son, and so we're like, you know what? I don't have time to raise a kid and do two jobs, and so something's got to give. And the
Sure.
real estate just happened to be the one that I went with. It was just um, growing faster than the
Sure.
teaching career could.
Well, I commend you. A lot of people would have just dumped the kid, so good job on
You know,
dumping one of the jobs and being a man about it. No, I'm serious. A lot of people they just live
yeah,
with their jobs and I got to
yeah,
provide and I'm never home. So, kudos to you
yeah. You're
for that.
right.
How
You're
did
right.
you, like from a marketing, so you kind of you fell in love with, doing some videos and things like that.
Yes.
And then people started asking you about it. So it kind of slowly evolved into a business, which was
Yep.
separate from your real estate side. I
Yep.
mean, so was there like a transition then from real estate to marketing? I feel like the same thing happened from teaching to real estate. Did kind of the same transition happen along the
No,
way?
that's still going hand in hand, right? You can't be a good realtor without also being a good marketer. So
Gotcha.
those
Okay.
things are still working together in like
Gotcha.
in
Okay.
collaboration. I don't know if
Okay.
I can ever separate the two. Like they have to just be one and the same because they go together. Like a realtor that doesn't market
Sure.
is a secret agent. You don't want that. You want to be out there. You want to be giving. I just am to the point now where I want to start teaching people how to do the war marketing systems that I'm using because I think it's good for communities. It really works. There's so much AI saturation now in the cold marketing space that all these things are coming together that I want to be able to teach that while at the same time still running the real estate gig.
Gotcha. Well, and I think you said something earlier that I want to make sure we point out was you know
Yeah.
your audience pretty well. And I think
Yep.
that that's a very important thing that a lot of times we as entrepreneurs overlook. Like my problem is I'm like, I think everybody needs what I have. So I have this
Yes.
super wide, like if you
Yep.
breathe, you eat it, right? It's like a cheeseburger. Who doesn't need a cheeseburger, right? So
Yep.
you feel like you have this super wide net that you need to cast. And at first, when I first started my coaching practice, after I sold my other business, I was like doing anything for anybody. I was like,
Yep.
just to
Just getting
start.
work.
were you kind of that way where you would be like, hey, I'll do anything for anybody as long as it's under the marketing thing, or were you guys pretty specific from the start?
No, we got to be specific. So that's the very, 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 very first thing I teach is that once you decide you want to be in the war marketing, you've got to decide what your company values are. That is the very first page. I've had to tell people no in the past just because the values didn't align. And if I'm putting out content and helping them, I'm perfectly fine helping as many local businesses as I can. We just have
Yeah,
to be in alignment. Like they also have to be giving and they also have to be community oriented. There has to be certain things they want to do because I don't want to align with people that don't fit the need because then people associate you with so and so who just does this and this and you got to be very careful. I'm just lucky that we're in a community that there's a lot of local businesses that really are on the same page. We're all in this together as a community, so there isn't too many no's, but there has to
sure.
be every once in a while because they just don't align.
And you dive pretty deep into knowing who that audience is. And I
Yeah,
think, again, that's a really good tool for us and to think about and the concept to
yes.
consider is, look and see. Someone told me once, Dave, if you could sell to just left-handed, blue-eyed plumbers and make a living at it, you'd be awesome,
Perfect.
and like niche down. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's, the converse thing with that is Billy, is that my disc assessment, my personality says I get bored easy. So every time
Yeah,
I try to
I'm
go
with you.
down an industry, it's like I kind of get bored. So I want to make sure people listening don't go too niche that they get bored. But again, niche down is everybody's saying it, everyone's thinking it. So I'm not doing it just because I don't like to do it. So, and I'm sure it's cost me in my career, but I'd rather have happiness than another zero behind my name personally, but that's
It's
just me.
true.
So
It's true.
just remember knowing your audience is pretty crucial in this
Huge.
journey. So
Yep.
couple of things that I want to get defined because you're throwing out words and I threw out word. Some people don't know what cold leads are, warm leads.
Oh
I
yeah.
hear hot leads, I hear cool, I hear all this about leads or prospects. So how do you guys define this for the group listening today?
So cold leads are people you don't know. You're
Okay.
walking down the street, somebody's coming your way, you don't know who they are. That would be a cold lead if you got them to buy your product. And lukewarm, I consider lukewarm people like I kind of know them, or I know a friend of a friend who knows them.
Okay.
They know I
Yep.
exist, they know of me, but we're
Okay.
not really like we don't sit down and grab a beer together or hang out as much.
Okay.
So, and then warm leads are people that you collaborate with. You send them leads, you send them people you think that will work with them, and you send them leads. They send referrals back and forth. You trust them.
Okay.
You know that when you send,
Mm,
Dave your way, you're going to be taken care of because Bob's going to take care of Dave. You know
sure.
that because you're friends, and those are warm leads. And so, um, I am always against cold leads. I've never done it. I did one day of cold calling. I made 3 calls, hated every bit of it, hung up. I door knocked one time for 11 minutes. Done. Not doing this. This is dumb. It just felt like I was paying somebody for the opportunity to bug somebody. That's
Yeah.
all it felt like to me. Like, here's $3,000, Zillow. Here, call these people and annoy the hell out of them, so that way they never want to talk to you ever again. I'm like, this
Right.
is dumb. I'm giving them the money, and then I'm
Yeah.
annoying this list of people who may or may not know it. But there's no trust. There's no
Sure.
connection. There's no.
Yeah.
But when you have a warm lead and hey, I'm sending Dave your way, that person,
Yeah.
there's trust. They're going to take care of
Sure.
you. There's dedication. There's, reliability. Like it just feels like a better transaction.
Yep. No, absolutely. And I think it's funny. I don't know about you in your world, Billy, but I'm getting inundated on LinkedIn
Yeah.
every single day with
Yep.
people that, they want to connect and I don't know anything about them and I'm open to the
Yeah.
connection. But boy, I tell you, as soon as you hit that connect button, there just seems like something changed. It went from a cold lead to they're my best bud. And they say I can work, if you only want to work 20
Yeah.
minutes a week and make it $3 million a week.
Yeah.
And, everybody's got the solution, which I appreciate. But like you said, there's no trust built.
No, there's nothing
I
there.
mean, there is absolutely, I don't know this person and I'm supposed to just, blindly say, oh, sure, let me give you my money or my time, my energy, whatever it
Yeah.
is. Are
It's
you getting
crazy.
those calls a lot as well?
Oh yeah, and they're getting more and more. And as AI becomes more sophisticated and people buy into it and it gets cheaper, there's going to be more and more saturation, which I think it just happens to be good timing for me when I started pushing the live local systems is I think we're
Yeah,
going to be coming back into a renaissance of more face-to-face meetings, more niching down and talking to the people you know and making connections with people you already know, like, and trust. And I think we're going to get back into that kind of world because the saturation of bots is going to make it so you don't trust any of them. Like anything
yeah,
comes through, like nope. Every text I don't know them, skip. Every call I get that I don't know, skip. Every
yeah.
DM I get, skip. Where like you need to start going through your list of who you know, building up your CRM, and make connections, more face to face stuff. That's the way it's going to be happening, I think.
Yeah, that's really smart. And we made a huge mistake pre-COVID. One of the
Yeah.
companies that I worked with, a marketing company, told me to take all of your LinkedIn contacts and put them into a CRM and start networking or start emailing
Mm,
them like newsletters and stuff. It was so bad that we got kicked off whatever platform it was because
yeah.
the open
Yeah.
rate wasn't there. The spam, it was so bad. It was a huge
Yeah.
mistake.
It's not
I
gonna work.
admit that it was not my idea, but I obviously paid for it, went along with it. So at the end of the day, it was my
Yeah.
responsibility. And so are you seeing a lot of companies and people, Billy, that try to do they want to they have a big massive list and they just want to they just want to market to that list. They don't know the people. I mean, is that still pretty common or are people trying to get away from doing that?
I think they're getting away with it. What they're doing is they're getting better at copywriting. So I interviewed a handful of copywriters and cold lead email people, and they just go by the numbers. But their open rates are 3, 5%. They're ecstatic. Like, oh great, I got 5% to open this up, and then I got one or two
Yeah,
clicks. It's just a numbers game.
yeah,
Whereas my open rate for my email is 57%. I mean, that's quite a big difference. So I'm getting
wow,
people to actually open them and actually click and watch it because I'm not
sure,
selling stuff. I'm adding
yeah,
value. I'm very intentional. I'm showing them what's going on in their community. Like it's a drastic difference. And so if you want to spend your time playing the numbers game, great. Put 1 million people in your CRM and see who opens it up. But if you want like to close one out of two people or make connections out of one out of two people, warm marketing and those strategies are way better. And it might be a little more time consuming up in the upfront part. But I mean, if you think about if you're in a company, who the senior salesperson is. Do they sit there and make cold calls all day long?
probably
No.
not.
Probably not. What are they doing? They know everybody, right?
No.
So if you were shown a system, if you had a system where you can make those connections and start working those connections earlier in your career, you could be that senior guy in the back office not making cold calls faster, and that's the way business always is. And I think it's going to be accelerated. Like you said, people are trying to build these big lists and it's just not going to work. I just think saturation's coming on us and AI is going to make it even worse. It's going to exacerbate it.
Yeah. Well, and I think you bring up a great, kind of a good point about content because content seems to be really important. But I
Yeah.
even question when content comes from somebody. Like if you send me content, that's one thing. But if somebody I've never met before, I don't know them, they're not even from my country, whatever, they just send me content. I think that there's still no trust, even they
Yeah.
feel like they're trying to build that trust. I get people all the time saying, "Oh, I love your book," and I'm like, I look back, I'm like, they never bought this, and it's like
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And I don't know what that, again, I don't know absolutely everybody that buys my book, but I think that the relationship is still more important than the
Huge.
content.
Yeah.
Because you can have great content, but if you don't trust the origin of that content, or you don't see it, it doesn't matter. So, how do you eliminate? Are there some simple ways that we can kind of wean ourselves off of cold leads to only doing the warm leads that you're talking about?
Yeah, it's about making the connections, right? So, take when I first started, right? So I didn't know a lot of people. And so I had to find a way to meet people. And you do
Okay,
that by adding value. You have to add value. You got to find out what they need and give it to them. So for me, it just happened to be local business owners because I wanted to see our local community doing well. I wanted to see our local business owners do well. I personally believe that local businesses are like the personality of a community. Like there's Walmarts everywhere. That doesn't tell you what it's like in certain cities or certain
sure,
areas. You go to like the local stores, local restaurants, local people. That's what tells you what that city's all about. Nobody
right,
goes to Chicago and for the Chick-fil-A. They just
yeah,
like it's just not how that works. They
Yep.
want to go see who's there and what the local people are. So I went out there and I started finding that my community business owners needed more publicity. They needed more promotion. They didn't have as much time, especially like the example I gave you was the brewery. Like they were just opening up. They
Yeah.
didn't have a ton of time to make content and do stuff, right? So I'm like, hey, listen, your pain point is marketing. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to give you some marketing. I'm going to create some stuff for you. I'm going to put you in front of my audience. I'm going to make some cool stuff so that way you can give it to anybody and everybody you want to. All the businesses I do stuff with, I give them copies of all the content I make, and I make some
Sure.
flyers and some extra stuff to give to them, because I know every local business owner that's their pain point, like getting more butts through the door, getting
Yep.
more eyeballs, getting more promotion. So I know their pain point. It's easy for me to go make a commercial for them, to make a couple
Sure.
flyers for them, to promote
Right.
their event that's coming up. Like those are the easy pain points that I make genuine
Yep.
connections with them. And they know, like, and trust is there because you're spending your time and your energy doing things that help see them succeed. And so, you make relationships. You start giving referrals back and forth, or hey, you need to go check out this place, or
Yeah.
you just start giving and giving with intention, and it comes back to you. And that's how you
Yeah.
build it up. And then you keep track of who you talk to in a CRM or whatever system. Make sure you
Sure.
checking in with them all the time. How are things going? Can I give you something else? What is it you're struggling with right now? And it's just that simple, but you have to have systems in place and you have to have your values aligned and you have to be like organized and ready to do it. But once you get moving, it just feeds itself and it's really easy once you have systems in place and you're having fun doing it and you're making a positive impact, you get the energy you need to keep doing it. So
Yeah.
it's
Well, and if I'm
valuable.
not organized, Billy, I mean, is that where you guys come in to try to help
Yeah.
with that? Because I got to say, what you said makes total sense. It also is never going to happen by this guy right here. I'm never going to do that. I don't have the patience. I
Yeah.
don't have any of that. Whatever.
Yep.
You lost me at as soon as there was a point two to that. You lost me, right? But
Yeah.
that's I'm
Yeah.
guessing a lot of entrepreneurs, and they're looking to find partners like you guys.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, really, I
Okay.
kind of want to unpack that add value piece because I think we all think we add value but I'm guessing there's some opportunity for growth there. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Honored to be hanging out with Billy Sammons, owner of Live Local Marketing, right?
Yes, you
Not
nailed
live.
it.
I did it. I didn't realize how complicated live versus live was until this morning. So, because I'm like looking at this, I'm going, is it live or is it live? And I'm like, I
There's
think it's
there's
live. And then, of course,
English language is tricky.
and
Yeah.
now I got purple elephant in my head. And I can't get it out. So I think I said it for the last time. So we're good there. But
Oh man.
so this add value piece. So
Yeah.
I think if I asked 100 people, in the sales world or in the entrepreneur world, do you add value to your clients? I'm guessing that 90 some percent of them would say yes.
Yeah.
But if I'm guessing if I ask the customer, if their customer that exact same question, I think that number would be way lower because I think this is a big blind spot that we have as business owners. So when you think about adding value, I mean, you said some cool things, but like, I don't know, pick one of your clients that's not in your industry that would kind of be relevant to the people listening, a landscaper, I don't care, a doctor,
Mm,
whatever, but
got you.
somebody that like can how do they add value so that we can kind of see it outside of the marketing world?
Yeah, so I recently did a video with a boutique. She had a clothing store. It was like
Okay.
clothes and stuff, and she had a bunch of like knickknack stuff, but it was mostly a boutique. And so
Okay.
we did the video. She loved it, and she's like, "I'm gonna do this." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll show her how to do it." Showed her the systems, and she went on the same street. There was like 10 or 15 other like shops and restaurants and things on the same street. And she went from door to door, met all the owners, and did the same thing where she did little videos with them all. So now she's got 10 or 15 connections on her same street that when
Uh,
somebody goes into the restaurant and they're
yeah,
like, "Oh, this is a beautiful area," they'll say, "Oh, you need to go down and check the boutique out." And
sure.
so she's getting people coming her way now because now she knows all the owners and she's like giving them value by marketing and showing what cool places are on their street. And then
Wow.
they're giving her value because they're sending people down her way to come shop and check the place out. And so
Yeah.
you can even do it B2B too. Like a business owner can go to another business owner and collaborate, especially if you're local or you have things in common. Your values are the same. I'm
Right.
not saying
Yep.
that if you're selling bananas to go to another banana dealer. Like that's not what
Right.
I'm saying. But if you're selling
Sure.
bananas, go to the Apple store and check
Yep.
out and make some collaboration opportunities.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of it out there, and it catches them off guard, right? They're like, "Oh, you're trying to do stuff like, yeah, we're all in this together. We're trying to help each other out. Let's do a
Right.
video together. Let's do a little thing together. Let's do a short event together. Let's do
Yeah.
something where we can collaborate and work together." And so it still works. You're still giving with intention, and it still works.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think there's a funny, this has just popped into my head. Like sometimes I go to a movie, and if it's this time of year, you'll see the Girl Scouts out there selling cookies, right?
Yes.
I tell you
Yeah.
what, walking into a movie, I'm like totally into it, But they sometimes stand at the grocery store after I'm
Mhm.
leaving and I've already bought five things of cookies, So
Yep.
it's like I think knowing your audience is good and then adding that value in the right place at the right time really is key because, you know, I'm in San Diego right now and I don't think there's very many snow shovel stores that were successful
No, no.
but it's
Mm.
because we know who we're dealing with, and these are
Yes,
simple tasks, in this world, Billy. But they get to be really like we just
they
take them for
do.
granted, and we forget about who are we marketing to, and then what value are we going to add. And I'm hoping that we can kind of talk about the guy that
Yeah.
walks into the networking place or the networking event with a half inch of cards and hands out all his cards to people he doesn't know, and expects them, because that happened to me. I walked into an event. Didn't know the guy, never met the guy, don't even remember who he was. He said, literally, gave me a half inch of his cards and he said, "Could you hand these out to your family and friends?" And I'm like, I don't
Why?
know you. I mean, you could be a serial killer for all I know. I mean, it's you've been hinting at trust a few times, so kind of
Yes.
unpack that with us because if I don't know you, is the research showing that I will not recommend you? But if I do know you and we've done business and I trust you, there's a higher likelihood of me referring you. Is that research out there?
Yeah, I mean it's the know, like, and trust. That's the old cliche that definitely works. There's a reason it's a cliche. It's because it's always true. That's why it's become a cliche. But the know,
Yeah,
like, and trust. And so you said earlier in regards to like the adding value. So let's say you're adding value isn't you selling them your product. That's not adding value, and that's where I
right.
think the
Yep.
disconnect would be. I think a lot of the
Exactly.
people are like, I sell you my pens, and that's added value. No, that's not added
Yeah.
value. That's you selling your product. The
Yep.
added value is knowing what your other person's, your collaborators, pain point is. What are they
Right.
struggling with? What do they need? What are they looking for? And giving them answers or solutions to their pain points that don't necessarily financially benefit you right away.
Right.
And that's the key to it. Um, for example, I had with the coffee shop, I knew the coffee shop lady, and I'm like, hey, what's your pain point? What is one of the things you're struggling with? She's like, these little covers that go on top of the coffee. You ever see those little cardboard things that go on the coffee
Sure.
cups that help you with your hand?
Yep.
She's like, these things are just eating my budget. Like, we go through a million of these things. If I could ever find a way to get rid of these things, that'd be wonderful. I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, cool, I got you. So I went to a local mortgage lender and I'm like, listen, I have somebody, these are like 2 cents a pop. If you put your logo on there, she'll let you put them in the shop and then that way you can have like a cover.
Sure.
She gets to get rid of all the expense and then you
Yep.
get to market because every single person is going to grab that coffee cup and see your logo on it over and over and over again.
Sure.
And so I got an opportunity to help her with her pain point. She got rid of the added expense. He got a chance to do marketing. And so the know, like, and trust is built up. It
Sure.
slowly builds up
Gotcha.
more and more because, like, he didn't get anything. Me, I didn't get anything out of that. I just
Yeah.
was able to help her with a pain point and they didn't ask for anything in return. She got to win. He got to win. And you just sit back and you're like, good. I'm glad you guys are doing
Yeah.
well. I want to see you succeed.
Well, and
So
I'm guessing in that scenario, Billy, the next time that she had a marketing question or a
she
marketing
came
need,
to
she
me.
knew who to call. So, you
Yes.
know what? There are, you might win how they say it, win the battle, lose the war. You might lose the battle up front of that piece, but win the
Yep.
war of gaining that person. And it's kind of
Yep.
like your pen analogy is if you sell pens for a living and somebody buys one, maybe you need to help them buy paper as well. And maybe you have nothing
There
to
you
do
go.
with that paper, right? You have a
Yep.
contact, you have somebody in the industry. I'm shocked at how few people have connections with similar industries or aligning industries that
Yes.
don't compete. but yet they are, helping a client. And that's what's weird is you think it's natural for people to just be self-serving versus customer serving? I almost feel like there's like some bone in my body or in a body that's I have an extra bone because I'm only about myself. Not me personally, but a person. They might have a different way of looking at it. And I'm just curious because I run into people that are always open to help. And then I run into people that are always like, hey, Dave, what do you got for me today? Type of thing. So you
Yeah.
run into both of those as well?
Yeah, so I do. Yeah, of course, you run into those both those kinds of people. But I see that the ones that are giving the extra bone in your body, as you would say, seem to succeed a little more seamlessly. Like they just
Yeah,
seem to be in the right place at the right times. They get invited to things. They end up having a much more smooth career. They don't seem like they're grinding all the time, like cold lead people or the people without the bone, the people that are always out for the just to sell stuff for themselves.
right.
They seem like they're always just like you know, uh, hamster on a wheel, always running. Whereas the people that have the extra bone and do the little extra things to give, they seem like they're just, it's the surfboard. They're trying to just cruise along the wave and it comes to them because they've set those gears in place. They've set themselves up for success just by giving here and there and having a plan. It just seems that
Yeah.
way.
And before the break, you referred to systems for
Hmm.
being set up, and again, when I think of a system, because I'm like, that just is like, I think of a spreadsheet, right? So that's just how
Yeah,
old I
yeah.
am. I just think of a spreadsheet or a
That's right.
CRM might be, but then I think of this huge CRM that everyone knows I won't mention because I don't want to get in trouble, but it's a situation where, I don't like these sales CRMs, I almost said it, the sales CRMs where they are so big where you got to fill in, the prospects, neighbors, kids next, next door neighbor. I mean, you got to just fill in all this stuff. It's
Yeah,
so clunky.
yeah.
And so do you supply CRMs? Do you work with them? How do you interact with CRMs for your clients?
Yeah, there's a few that I use. I usually defer off to a CRM expert. I have a guy in my database that I've met through giving. And so
Yep.
he's usually the go-to person. Like we're doing a workshop here coming up soon where we're gonna help people kind of collaborate more on it. I usually just teach people the basics. Everything I do is simplified. And when I teach people how to do their marketing system, assume that they have a full-time job and they're using this marketing to build their business. So when you talk about CRMs and you talk about systems, I simplify it so easy. So when I'm like, hey, you need a CRM, it's got to keep track of people. It's got to allow you to take a couple of notes, and it has to be able to send you reminders when to follow up with people. That's it. You don't
Yeah,
need any more than that. If you want to,
sure.
great, but have those elements in there. And if you have those elements, you have everything you need to succeed.
Sure. Wow, that's awesome. And then that's one of the tools that kind of gets you started. How in the
Yes.
world do you get creative? Because I'm guessing right now there's people listening going, you know what, Billy, I'm not creative. I
Yeah.
couldn't think of this or I didn't realize that. I mean, I'm always, I don't know if it's a gift or a curse, but I'm always, when I meet somebody, that's like one of the first things that I ask. It's like, what do you need? How can I help? What were you hoping that we could get in our time together today?
Yes. It's good.
Things like that, rather than have my hand out, do you know so and so? Can you
Yeah,
do
that's
this
good.
for me? So I don't know. Like I said, there are both sides of that, but for the denser people that have not really thought that through, are there some simple questions? Are there some simple ways that we could start this today? Maybe we have a meeting today that we would want to try to flip this to where it becomes, customer focused or client focused or prospect focused rather than me focused. Are there any simple tricks or
Hmm.
tips that you
Oh,
have for
yeah.
us?
Always lead with value. That's the biggest thing. Like, what value are you bringing to them, and what pain points, what areas do they need help with? When you ask them, what do you need help with? Not many people ask that anymore. Like, hey, what do you need help
Yeah,
with? What's your business struggling with?
right.
What are some of the areas that you wish you could do better? What areas do you wish you wouldn't have to do at all? Ask them stuff about their business that they enjoy. Like, what do you love about your business? How can you do more of what you love about your business? Um, what are the things that you could help them take off their plate if need to be?
Yeah,
Um, Stuff like that is always good. Where you're like, hey, I'm here to help you. I've got a little bit of time. I want to see you do well. And
Sure.
here's what are some things that I can do to help you do well, like to succeed. I mean, when you go to those meetings and that guy handed you the stack of business cards, he didn't ask you any
Yeah.
of those questions, did he? He didn't ask
No,
you like, what areas can I help you with? What areas are you
no.
struggling in? Like, what areas, what do you love doing about your job that I could help you maybe do more of that instead of something you don't love? If you start
Yep.
with them, what do they need? What are their pain points? Where can you add value? And lead
Yep.
that way instead of here's the thing I have, if you buy it or don't buy it,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah, no, I have no clue. That guy walked in and it was 100% about himself. And again,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I get that, but don't expect very good results. Don't expect buy-in. I don't know what I did with the cards, but I guarantee you I didn't hand them out to anybody. They were just in my pocket the rest of the day, and I'm sure I threw them away when I got home because I don't know the guy. And I think one of the value you said add value, like right away
Yeah,
add some value. And I think that for people that have never thought this before of that way, or that's not their leading thought. One of the things that I think about when I meet with somebody and I ask them the question is, hey, who do you want to meet? Or,
that's good too.
what is a customer? If you could have, your ideal customer, who would that
It's
be?
good.
I think that that's a really, if all else is lost in this or all else goes out of your brain, they need a customer. You might be their customer, your
Yep.
neighbor, your brother, one of your networking partners, who knows? But there's been plenty of times where for me personally, I've asked that question and then they start to rely on me for that, which I think is awesome. Some people will call me and say, hey, I see you're connected to so and so on LinkedIn. Do you know them?
Yes. Yep.
I mean, they're all of a sudden now you're adding some serious value and you're
Yep.
top of mind when they're talking business growth. I mean, do you see that working in your world this way? Like the B2B piece is definitely a good spot for that, I'm assuming, correct?
Yeah. No, yeah, see, that is good when you're adding value, you're making the connections, you're the go-to person. And so that's why I went to the local businesses. And because they have all the resources. I was able through the real estate side of it, when somebody moved into a neighborhood, I was able to tell them all the local spots to go
Sure.
to. Like
Yeah.
skip Walmart, go here instead. Or you want to go to a place to eat, go there, talk to Bobby. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Like, so that was really my initial um, goal, motive, and it ended up becoming even better than that. More referral based, more fun, more amazing than I thought it was going to be. But I did want to start that way. Like I wanted to be the go-to person. I wanted to be this somebody that they came to me because they knew I knew all the people in the community, and I did that with
Yeah.
the intentional giving. Intentional giving is where also all begins. Like if you want to be that person, you know a lot of people because you've given to a lot of people. And that's how you become the go-to person. You are somebody that everybody relies on. But until you give with intention, with strategy and genuine giving, you're never going to be that person. So it's a mindset shift, right? It's going to
Yep.
be I'm going to give to the community. I'm going to be a important person that they can't replace, and they're going to come to me when they need something because they trust me now.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I think it's an art. It takes practice to always be looking up around for somebody
It's
else.
true.
When I'm driving around and I see something, I'm like, oh my gosh, who needs that?
Yeah.
What in my
Yeah.
base of
Yeah.
connections needs that connection? Or I meet somebody, I mean, I love that piece, and I'll never forget in my past company, I made a connection with, I introduced a builder, custom home builder to an architect. And the architect ended up, drawing this $2.5
Yeah. That's
million
cool.
dollar house. So they made $250,000. I made nothing, which was fine. But what's interesting is every time I need to call an architect and talk to him, he'll pick up and take my call. Number one, I gave him $250,000, so he's kind of feels, indebted to me. But number two, he might
Uh,
think, "Holy cow, maybe Dave's got another
somebody
one."
else.
And so I think getting that mindset, but it takes some time because we're naturally, we have bills to pay, we have rent to make, we got
It is.
payroll. We have all this that is just constantly, there for us. So it does take a little bit of a mind shift. So do you help people with that if they came to you, Billy, and said, "Oh my gosh, I had never done this before. Do you help them
Yeah.
at from square one to change that mindset?
Yeah, the way the system's set up is it's a 10 step starting from scratch. This is like if you had zero and nobody in your system and how you go step by step all the way through. And it
Gotcha.
starts like I've been hammering home the idea of the intentional giving. Like you have to have a thing that you can give to others, and it's got to be something that they want or need. I've
Yeah.
always used the video commercials just because I know every local business owner needs more marketing. So that's been my go-to and that's been my give. Um, Podcast. I mean, we're doing a podcast right now. We're meeting each other. There's a know, like, and trust now because we're going to spend the next 45 minutes together. Some of the best connections I've made has been through podcasting. I'm sure you're the same, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if you have a thing that you can give to the communities, and something that they need, you bridge that gap and you build that trust. You can go from knowing zero people to
Yeah.
knowing 10 people, 30 people, 50 people, 70 people. Like the people that I've met and the situations I've got found myself in has been kind of incredible. I ended up, for example, running the STEM. There's a STEM program, which is an after school program for the school system. Kids want to be
Okay.
engineers and do the extra. I ended up running their food truck festival. I didn't have any kids in STEM. I didn't have any, but they saw me out in the community, and I knew a lot of the food truck people because I'd do content and things to help them out. And they knew me doing things for the school system, so they asked me to run it. And so I find myself at the fairground running this food truck festival, thinking, well, how in the world? And it's just by giving with intention and having a
Sure.
system and following up with the people and just doing the right thing. And you end
Yeah.
up like at that point, I met all the vendors, I meet all the food truck people, I met all the teachers, I got to meet all the students, I got to meet all the vice principals, I got to meet the superintendent. I met everybody that day.
Sure.
And I didn't
Wow.
didn't cost me anything. No cold
Yeah.
leads, didn't pay for anything, and I met 100 new people. And
Yeah.
so with the right giving and having the positive and impact behind it and it's got to be fun. You got to enjoy doing it. It shouldn't be like eating broccoli. I mean, it's got to
Yeah.
be a good time. You have to be a community centered person. But it's you can know and meet anybody you want, and opportunities will pop up for you. It will. It just does.
Yeah, and again, being intentional, I think, is so
It
helpful
is
because
huge.
you have to go into an event with that thought process.
Yes, you have to.
And so, a couple questions as we start to land the plane, Billy, for you. What would your tip of the day be for somebody listening? Maybe it's something we covered, maybe it's something that we haven't covered, but what would your tip of the day be today for somebody listening?
Yeah. So if you were starting from scratch, find something that you can give that doesn't cost you anything, that you enjoy, that you know other people need. And it's that simple. I didn't, that sentence didn't cost you a nickel. You can meet all the people you need to meet and you can grow your business out. And it didn't cost you anything but your time. And then that's the other objection I get. Like, well, I don't have time for that. Really?
Yeah,
You spend an hour cold calling, don't you?
yeah,
How about we stop replacing
100%.
those cold call hours with going out and meeting people in your community hours instead?
Yeah,
You're going to be,
yeah,
it's going to feel way more rewarding, I promise you, than bugging somebody on their way to work or interrupting their dinner, cold calling them, than you will helping out the local bakery or helping out the local florist or meeting the local charity. So that way you can promote them.
yeah.
Give with intention, find what works for you, start meeting people that way because, it's that simple. It truly is.
Yeah, that's awesome. Whether you join an association, join your local chamber, find a nonprofit to help people with. Again, I just every time, I mean, people are normally coming up to me now on a consistent basis. I just had a call the other day. Somebody doesn't even do business with me. It's like was a past client, and he's like, "Hey, I'm looking for a project manager. You know a bunch of people."
That's how it
And so
works.
it's like, right? And it's like, man,
Yep.
I'm honored to have that. Thank you for that, for that phone call. Let me see what I can find out. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to help him on that. But, if you're the go-to person for whatever, that top of mind is got to be powerful in,
Yep.
the purchase time when somebody's going to buy something. So, thanks for that tip of the day. If somebody's interested, Billy, in learning more about how to connect with you, this live local marketing is something that is really, it's a new concept to them, or maybe they're tired of doing cold
Yeah,
calls.
that's a
If
big one.
people want to connect with you, what's the best way for people to do that?
Yeah, I would tell people to go to the website, livelocalwarmmarketing.com, and try the 5 day challenge. The 5 day challenge is like the quick and easy. It's the abridged version of step one, step two, step three. By the end of step five, you should be able to start adding people into your CRM by meeting them
Oh,
through intentional giving. It just walks you through. And if you're like, I really love how that feels, then we have other options. We have the course, the book, but I want people to test it first. Have an appetizer before we have dinner.
Sure.
See how it feels because I don't
Yeah.
want people in here just saying, "Yo, you talked me into this. You said I'd do." Try it, give it a
Yep.
shot, and if it doesn't feel better than cold calling, go back to cold calling. Good for you. I'm never
Yeah.
gonna answer it when you call, but it's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Try the 5 day challenge. Go in there and check it
Cool.
out. It's a great way to get a good feel for it, to see what it's all about, to see the processes in work, and you get to actually do it. Like it's a hands-on. It's a quick video of the day.
Sure.
Do this
Okay.
thing today. Then day two is do this thing today, and it really walks you through it. And by the end, you should be meeting people.
Is there a cost to do that 5 day challenge?
Usually it's $5, but if you want to, we can make a free code for your people only. Want to do that?
Sure, absolutely. We'd love to, for sure. Thank you.
Yes,
It's livelocalwarmmarketing.com. So
that's the
go
one.
there and test drive this for 5 days. I mean, who gets a 5 day test drive on a hot car? Probably not. You get 20
Gotcha.
minutes and then you better get your butt back. Here you get 5 days to try it. So,
Yeah,
again, what do you have to lose? And I think that, like you said, if you're investing X number of minutes or hours a week now, in cold calling, let's just take half of that or a quarter of it, whatever, take a
exactly.
small chunk of it, dedicate it to these 5 steps and see if it's a good replacement. Maybe it doesn't work for you. And maybe there's industries that, this doesn't work for. We're open to that, but the vast majority of people that are
It's
struggling
gonna work.
through cold calls, this is just a better alternative. There are freaks of nature out there that absolutely love doing this cold call stuff, and I get it, but it's like it's so rare. This is the
It
one
is.
thing where people generally who loves to get hung up on, who loves to interrupt people at their dinner, like you said.
Yep.
And in today's world, I don't know about, man, I never answer my phone. If I don't recognize that number, I'm
Don't.
not answering it. If they want to leave a message, they can. They never do. It's so crazy. They never leave a message. So it isn't obviously that important to them either. But
No.
I just want to get out of that, oh my gosh, it's him calling type of thing and be, oh my
Yes.
gosh, it's him calling. I better take that
I better
call.
grab it. Yep.
That's the exact flip that
It's
we want to make
huge.
sure is when someone sees your number, they excuse themselves in a meeting because you're the most important thing because you've added value and you know them. I mean, those are way better than them looking at here's a number they're not
Yeah.
doing a thing with it. So that's
So next
awesome.
time, next time you're in a podcast, I'm gonna call you and I'm gonna see if you pick up or not in the middle of a podcast. I'm gonna test you to see how it goes.
Well,
Like, oh
see,
shoot,
I
it's
don't even have
Billy.
my
Dang,
phone
I gotta
anywhere
answer
near
that.
me, so it ain't happening. So you call and give it away. That's just
Ah.
unfair. I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even have my phone in here, so I couldn't even. You call, I ain't gonna answer. So,
You'll call me
um,
back. It's fine. I
yeah,
got you.
yeah.
You'll
Leave a
call back.
message though, at least. It's just crazy. I don't understand why people don't leave messages anymore. So.
That's great. Oh
Well,
my
Billy,
goodness.
thanks so much for hanging out with
Yeah.
me. We hit a ball. This is awesome, and I'm hoping that for people listening, rather than jump into your next podcast or your next activity, just take a minute and let what we
Yes.
talked about and let what Billy said kind of absorb. Because if you really are serious about your book of business, whether you're a sales professional, whether you're an entrepreneur, business owner, if you're really serious about this, we want this to be customer focused. And if it's not,
Hmm.
if it's salesperson focused, that's going to be a problem. And we gave some simple ways to do it. And there's a 5 day free challenge that you can try. And we'd love to. I'm going to have to take a look at it. Now you got me intrigued. So thank
I'll give you a
you.
code too. You can have a code, no problem.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, thank you. So I appreciate it, Billy, for hanging out
Thanks for
with us
having me on.
and go to I'm going to do it one more time. It's not live. It's
It's live.
livelocalwarmmarketing.com and find that, or can they connect with you on LinkedIn, Billy?
Oh yeah, yeah. So it's shoot. You know what? It's on the link is on the website. Go to the website because I can't remember if I'm Billy or William on there. To be honest with you, like I log in there all the time. I don't ever pay
Yeah.
attention to it, but I don't know. But my link
Yeah.
is on there. So if you go to the website, there's a LinkedIn logo at the bottom. So if you want to hop on there too, and then same with the YouTube channel. Like you can see examples of the work that I've done. It's on there too.
Perfect.
Like there's a lot of cool examples and things you can mess around with.
Awesome. Nothing better than buy it before you try it before you buy it. That's
Absolutely.
always
I want people that
always
are
fun.
dedicated in there. Yeah.
Absolutely cool. Well, thank you again, Billy. I can't wait to check this out and I can't wait to keep learning from you. And I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, thank you very much. And if you could send some of that warm San Diego weather our way, I'd appreciate that.
It's only going to be 80 today. So how much do you
Get
want
out of here.
it?
I'll take 10 or
Okay.
15. I mean,
So
that'll
we'll
get
do
us enough to get rid of the
70 and you
snow.
can add, it'll be add 10 degrees on. So
Yes.
we'll send 10 degrees
Perfect.
your way. So, but you
Deal.
got to walk the dogs. No, none of this letting them walk themselves. Okay.
No, I got it. I'll walk dogs. It'll give me a chance to get out of the house. That's what I'm
Yeah.
looking for right now.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Billy. Have a good day.
Thank you.